Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this special emergency update of the Myrtle Beach Aware Coastal Cast. I am Andrew Houston, and I'm here to bring you my take on what I believe is going to happen based on my forecast for tomorrow here along the Grand Strand and parts of South Carolina. We're going to kind of dive right on in here. I'm not going to hold you guys up too long this evening, but I do want to share a little bit about what I feel is going to happen and why I feel that way. We've been looking and watching this system for quite some time here the past couple weeks. I've been hinting on it. I threw some posts out there based on some really, really early long-range forecast models showing over a foot of snow here in Myrtle Beach. Some of them showing an inch of snow, kind of back and forth all over the place. I think snow is going to be out of the question for us here along the Grand Strand, but it was fun to kind of dream about that a little bit. It's been 3 years or so since we've had our last snowstorm here in Myrtle Beach, so a little bit of the white stuff would have been nice, but we're going to dive in here this evening and kind of talk about what is happening around the country here, mainly Texas, Oklahoma, into Arkansas, where they're currently seeing a lot of snow coming, as you can see on this radar image, a lot of snow. Dumping snow down, very treacherous travel conditions, very hazardous. The freezing rain down into Dallas and other areas of northern Mississippi, southern Arkansas, seeing some of that freezing precipitation there in the pink there, and the blues are going to be the snow up around Oklahoma City, kind of making its way out and kind of to the northeast. So we are going to kind of dive in here and just kind of go over some of this and what I think is going to happen here along the Grand Strand. So let's dive right on in. I'm going to remove myself from the screen here and kind of just dig in. So what we're looking at here is our radar, current radar across the country here. We're able to view the entire United States here. And we want to kind of look here. You can see your parts of Dallas. That freeze line is pretty well maintained right here across portions from Dallas north up into Oklahoma. You got Oklahoma City over here. That freeze line is pretty solid, right through. Well, let me take that back here. We're going to go right here and up. So that's kind of where the jet streams kind of dip down, and you got that freeze line. So they're still pulling some moisture off of the Gulf of America, Mexico there, pulling moisture off of there along that low pressure. So the center of low pressure, let's look here. So currently it looks to be center of low pressure is right around in here, pulling moisture up in and kind of feeding some of that warmer air off of the Gulf of Mexico up into, say, the Houston area and up into Palestine and Waco, where you're seeing some of that freezing rain, where the jet stream has dipped down there. So what is going to happen here along the Grand Strand? Well, let's take a deep look here. I'm going to go with our Futurecast here, and we'll start with this one here. This is the NAM. So if we dive into Myrtle Beach, we are looking at precipitation type here. So this is the 18Z run. That is the most current run right now. So we're going to take a dive into this and see what we're looking at as far as what are precipitation types according to the NAM model, and we'll also look at the GFS as well. We'll see what those are indicating for us as we move through the day tomorrow. So this is 10, 11, 12. So we're going to go into tomorrow, 9 a.m. We got You can see that freezing rain starting to build in the low country. Charleston moving into pretty close to the coast there, and it kind of breaks up a little bit as we move through and kind of pushes a little bit further westward towards Columbia, Orangeburg, Augusta, Georgia. They're seeing some of that freezing precipitation. And as we get through the day here, this model showing a little bit of that moisture making its way into the Grand Strand around 3 p.m. and then eventually moving across as we get into 11 p.m. and overnight. Still seeing some of that lingering freezing potential there, right along this freezing line out to Florence, Dillon, Lumberton, Wadesboro. Seeing some freezing rain there as well. Now, this is only one model run where this eventually shifts that freezing line, and I'll explain this why this is going to happen here in a few minutes here, but that takes that freezing line right up through here is where you're seeing that transition, and why that is, well, I'll explain here in about 1 or 2 minutes after we go over the GFS model here. So this is showing everything moving out of our area by 8 a.m. Saturday. We're clear. I'm not really in agreement too much with this single model run. Have been kind of diving back and forth between the GFS and the Euro. The Euro is not going to show us the precipitation type. So I'm going to stick with the GFS on this particular broadcast, switching between the NAM and the GFS as we kind of move forward here. So this is going to be the GFS model. This shows some of that moisture starting to work its way in to the Grand Strand around 10 a.m. tomorrow. By 1 p.m., we've got that what could possibly be some snow flurries and things. However, we're going to be battling some very, very dry air here. So a lot of this moisture is not even going to make it to the ground. It's probably going to evaporate before it ever gets to the ground. However, as we move through, a little bit more of that the moisture is going to start building in as that center of low pressure starts moving up the coast. It's going to bring along with it a lot more moisture. So there's a lot of dry air out ahead of this low pressure system as the center wants to start working its way through. Once it does that and it starts to work a little bit further up the coast, we're going to start seeing some of that moist air come in. However, with that comes those warmer temperatures, which is eventually going to kick these bands of cold precipitation. This freezing precipitation is going to kick it northwest of us, more towards the Charlotte, Lancaster, Wadesboro, Fayetteville. So you're going to see that transition eventually here start working through. This is going to be 7 p.m. tomorrow night. You can still see the GFS calling for some mixed precipitation here. A little bit of freezing rain here on the coast at that point. But that's quickly going to, by 10 p.m., switch to all rain. And eventually by 8 o'clock in the morning, this will be out of here and completely gone. However, so any freezing precipitation that we do receive here along the Grand Strand will eventually be washed out by that transition to rain. As you can see here, by 1 a.m., all the freezing precipitation is here and north. So not looking to see a bunch of frozen precipitation over most of the state that's going to linger and last for us. So now let's take a look at this is model runs here based on our futurecast here. So let's take a peek into our actual models here. And I'm going to show you that temperature change. Okay, so here we are. This is, let me go back a little bit here. So this is going to be tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. You can see our temperatures here along the Grand Strand will be in the 30s, 38 to be exact here. Myrtle Beach is what this model run is calling for. And this will slowly we kind of dip down a little bit. So sorry, this was, okay, so here we are at 7 a.m. on Friday. We are down in the 20s, so 28 degrees. And throughout the day, you can kind of see that temperature change as that center of low pressure starts working its way up the coast, bringing our temperature. So it's bringing along with it some of those warmer air as our winds start to then shift out of the southeast, bringing in more of that moisture, which is going to produce a little bit more of that precipitation here for us, which I said, before that, our moistures, we're going to be battling very, very dry air as we kind of move through the day. And eventually by the afternoon, early evening, you've got that warmer, not a drastically warm air, but it is enough to kick that frozen precipitation to the northwest a little bit further, kicking it out of here and transitioning completely to rain for us as we go through the rest of the day. This is very late evening. This will be 1 a.m. Saturday morning. You can see those temperatures are up near 40 degrees. We actually do kick up a little bit more. Temperatures this model showing 50s by so this is 5 in the morning. So this is a big temperature difference, and that's going to force a lot of that frozen precipitation to be pushed northwest of here, and you can kind of see that where that shift might be here on this model run of temperature. So not a whole lot as far as frozen precipitation for us. There may be enough between 4 and 7 p.m. to where during travel hours, definitely the further west you go into the state of South Carolina, up near Lumberton into North Carolina, Florence, those areas could be seeing some pretty hazardous travel conditions, especially on your bridges and back roadways that can freeze. The ground is very cold over the past couple days, so could create some treacherous driving for those hours. Now let's take a peek here at precipitation type on this model run. So this is the GFS. So as we move through tonight into tomorrow, this is bringing, so this is about 10 a.m., bringing what looks to be some snow into parts of, Murrells Inlet, southern Horry County, Georgetown County. Like I said, though, this is going to be battling a lot of dry air. So don't see the threat of snow being a big deal here and a big factor into this as we go through the day before those temperatures really start to increase. We could get into that freezing rain potential, and the GFS is doing a really good job of kind of showing that as we kind of go through the day. This is going to be 4 o'clock Friday. You can see some of that freezing rain potential here for much of Horry County out to the coast into Myrtle Beach. But very quickly after that 21Z run, really wants to try and start shifting to that solid rain as we move through the overnight hours, as those temperatures kind of increase and that center of low pressure starts to work its way. So right here is the center of low pressure just off the coast and kind of inland just slightly, bringing and ushering in those southeasterly winds at that point, bringing in some of that warm, moist air. And that is going to help kind of feed this system slightly, but not too drastically. So this is not going to be a moisture packed system. We are looking at some very, very minor rains here, but it's just going to be a steady rain as we kind of move through. So not a whole lot really with this system, not anywhere near what we anticipated to see from, say 2 weeks ago, as we were looking at some of those models and the jokes were coming out about a significant amount of snow here along the Grand Strand. But we are definitely looking at the potential for some minor hazards as we work our way through the day tomorrow. By 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we're going to be looking at that transition to solid rain. And that may be the case for most of us most of the day. There's a lot of factors that kind of we'll see where exactly the center of low pressure decides it wants to go as we move into tomorrow. But as of right now, not thinking we're going to be seeing a whole lot in the way of frozen precipitation here along the Grand Strand. But as you go west, there's that chance, if you are interested in seeing some snow, the mountains of South Carolina up into Tennessee and the mountains of North Carolina would be a good place to start. However, eventually that system's going to move out of here rather quickly. So not a whole lot in store for us here along the Grand Strand. But I will keep you updated as we kind of move through the day tomorrow. If anything changes, I will reach back out to you. But we thank you so much for joining us tonight here on our live update. Not a whole lot to talk about with this. I feel like this has been talked high up over the mountain already. So not much in the way of a major storm for us. However, other parts of the country receiving a lot of snow, and parts north and west of here, a lot of snow for these areas that have already been hit with a lot of ice and a lot of snow last week. Now getting hit with snow again this week. So we want to keep them in our thoughts as they kind of move through, especially the folks in the mountains of Western North Carolina. Many of such are still living in tents. So we want to pray for their safety and hope that this moves out rather quickly and the impacts are very minor for those people in the mountains of Western North Carolina. So that's it for tonight. I want to thank you for joining me. Please give this broadcast a like and share and comment your thoughts on what you'd like to see as far as snow and winter weather. We may have one more shot at this as we kind of move through the next. This is going to be Saturday the 18th. Another system looks to bring a little bit of winter weather to the western portions of the state. Getting close to Horry County, though, on this one. So I'm keeping an eye on that as we kind of work through. Again, this is going to be another area of low pressure, similar to the storm that we're seeing now, coming directly up the coast. Right here is the center. So depending on where this one goes, there may be that opportunity. So we're watching that. But as far as that goes, that is all I have for tonight on this emergency update. Not a whole lot to talk about. We will keep an eye on it tomorrow as the day progresses. And I look forward to seeing you all back if I come live again and with any more updates. So thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and comment this broadcast. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.